Greetings, friends. It's the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for, the channel you cheer for, and we're back for another episode of that sneaker business talk. All right, giving us clarity over popularity. So I'm your man, T. Mart, the Street Shark.
And I'm your man, the OGEO. Welcome.
All right, welcome to another episode. So we're just going to dive right in. This one we're all about that nostalgia, always bringing back those memories. So definitely had to make an episode just to tip our hat, show respect, salute to Slam Magazine. All right, we're celebrating 30 years anniversary of Slam Magazine. So we're just going to talk about the cultural impact of Slam Magazine. How it came about, some of our maybe a personal story or two that near and dear to our heart of how we learned about Slam Magazine. But this one's all about Slam, so I'm going to kick it over to the OG. Let them know about some of the history. And the 30th anniversary of Slam Magazine.
Yeah, man, this is nuts, Shark. And this is nuts because I clearly recall the very first Slam magazine, their very first issue. And I remember picking it up from a 7-Eleven just off of GP. And that was my freshman year of high school. And I remember at lunchtime literally having a fight to get my magazine back because it went to my boy's hands, then went to another person's hands. And within 20 minutes, I'm like, who got my magazine? Like, it was about to be a fight in a lunchroom about who got my Slam magazine. That's how significant Slam was, the very first edition that printed. And people have to understand that you had Sports Illustrated and you had other publications, but this was the very first publication that spoke not only to a sport that I adored, loved, was never that great, always talked more trash. I said I had a Gary Coleman game with the Gary Payton mouth basketball, but it was a authentic, integral way of not only displaying our culture and showing our culture to the world. Not saying that not only we can play, but how we play. And I will say that Slam did an excellent job from beginning, even now, 30 plus years later, selling without selling out. People had to sell out to Slam. And just the master of the photography, the master of the writers that were brave enough and bold enough to put some of their careers on the line to contribute to Slam, because again, you have your entities, and I'll tell you, man, at some point Slam was getting blackballed. You write for Slam, you can't write for this certain entity that may be bigger or better or have more influence. And people like Russ, people like Scoop was like, nah, we stand here. And throughout that, they got the support of the people who mattered most. And like I said, it became a phenomenon, still is a phenomenon. And now when you say Slam, people don't think you're talking about just a dunk. They know you're talking about the magazine. And just the cultural significance of that magazine has been great. It still is great. I got stories for days about Slam. But when I think about Slam, I think about something I picked up and I said, this reads like something that I would want to read. This looks like something I would want to share, something that we can debate. And another thing real quick before I pass to you, Shark, that people need to understand that Slam Magazine was a compliment at this point in time, particularly during the infancy years of the internet. So think about it. People would have the magazine, then go to the internet and use the internet as a compliment to the magazine, not going to social media like we have now, and that being the main thing, and then the magazine being, the side chick or the side. So no, that was a primary, and the internet was the secondary, where it was message boards, AOL. It was so much that Slam did, but it was a buzz that went around real quick. And lastly, real quick before I pass to you, Shark, I got to mention this. You felt some kind of way if you weren't from New York, because everything was New York. Sneakers, New York. Style, New York. It got to a point where between 94 to 97, you ask somebody where they got the shoes from. Oh, I got it from New York. So the thing that they brought kind of New York to the world, it meant something to me, because I'm like, finally, I can get a piece of New York as far as the streetball culture, or even their writers, or even their journalism, because everything seemed to be, as far as hip hop wise, embodied of New York before it spread it to the South, West, so forth. Them just giving a piece of that East Coast flavor, then it went everywhere. But again, the authenticity of it, the genuineness of it, the integrity of it, and the consistency of things, they kept it hood. They kept it hood,
Yeah.
but and they did not sell out at all. So Piece of Slam magazine, man, and I have my favorite photos. I have my favorite articles I can still think of till this day. I remember reading like, oh my gosh, and them bringing people out as far as who was in high school and the guys who were still in the NBA or the guys who were improving. If Slam wrote something about you, it meant something, and the players knew that as well. So them being in Slam was just a big of a deal as them being on Sports Center or NBA TV or anywhere else. So Slam was kind of like, dare I say, the source or the double XL or the complex, if you will, of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Just in print form, because that's what we had. Shark, off to you, man. Please.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it comes to the cultural communication of the culture, you could tell that this publication was written, it was the FUBU era. It's the for us, by us. You could tell that if the style that it was written, the way that it was presented to us, it was non-traditional. You really, the way the articles and the pictures were out of the traditional margins on the page. Like that's how much detail I'm talking about. Sometimes the stuff was sideways, or it was for the hoop culture that also grew up with this new thing called hip hop, or we're like the second generation of hip hop, where it was the beginning of the commercialization, the athletes, all having signatures, and this was a information a source, a resource for you to learn and then confirm. Like I was watching the game, well, but when it was regional and you didn't have that much line of sight on players throughout the country, unless they were national televised games. This is newspaper time. We're not talking. We had just the infancy of the internet. You weren't sharing that type of information. I was introduced to Slam magazine in middle school. All right, around the same time that East Bay, I discovered it. So go watch or listen to our East Bay episode as well. We had a whole episode just dedicated to mail order catalogs in the East Bay culture. So it's again the same type of sharing your magazine, and I happen to be in the DMV, the DC area. Love all home team sports, Washington Bullets, let's do it. But my other favorite team, I love Run TMC, Golden State Warriors. Tim Hardaway was one of my favorite players. And the very first Slam magazine that I got, it had Tim Hardaway and Latrell Sprewell on the cover, and it
Yep.
said, and the caption was "Die Hard."
Yep.
All right, and it was like it was dark. It wasn't even like the big colorful covers like they have now, and it was just something like, wow, like that's to put them on the cover, like just even you have to know, right? And then it's like, oh, well, now I'm up to speed with, because you're already, if you're a hooper, you're already tracking, you already know who some of these players are. But then when you see them, and then they have staple pieces, where they have, just like you saw in the Source magazine, the 5 mics, or you see the quote of the month. You had the freshman or the punk of the month, where you see the kid from high school that they featured, and then you have the sneaker section, right? Before it was, in the magazine, before it was just one page or just a quarter of a page was just for sneakers. And you thumb through it just to find that one page. And then you had to like identify, 12 sneakers and who wore them and what the sneaker was. And then the answer was like a puzzle, and it was upside down on the other side of a page or something like that. And then it started to grow, but just the way that they had so much information. And like I'm saying, if there's so many different ways that the magazine was formatted that you didn't see in the Basketball Digest. You didn't see in just your regular basketball scouting report magazines or anything, but it told you that information. And the way that it was put together, you could tell that it was for us, for the hoopers who were into the hip hop culture, and you wanted to learn more information, and then you're just hooked, and then you get to the next one, and you're looking for, oh, it now becomes a badge of honor to be on the Slam of the Month, when then the Slam of the Month turns into a poster now. All right, now you have a slam up. All right, and then now some of the posters that got on the wall was from the magazines, from Slam magazine, Slam of the Month, where they break it down too. So they had the real picture of the poster that you did, Slam of the Month, but then they had frame by frame the whole sequence always, and it was always in the middle of the magazine when you open it up. So even if you didn't bought the magazine, you peek at it in the store or whatever to see who it is. Oh, it was Vince Carter. Oh, Tracy McGrady where he dunked on, like you just, Vince Carter with the, and then Vince Carter again. You know what I'm saying? Like just seeing that, and just having those moments that people look forward to. Those are the things that when we made this podcast, we wanted to come up with some staple segments and advice and things to just keep you coming back. And that's where some of that culture was of information that we always wanted to be able to provide to our end consumers. For those who are listening and watching, for us, is that we hope that you see unique things in our presentation and the information that we're giving you, just like we were influenced by people, publications like Slam Magazine. It's the heart. It's like basketball culture is just such the heartbeat of so many things. It's sport and life, and life is sport. It's all imitated. Art is life, and just the way that it came together. So, speaking of the kicks, all right, just wanted to just show how it kept going and evolving, because I do have more slams in the vault, but just for now, just wanted to bring out a couple kicks because the section, got so popular for kicks that it turned into its own magazine, that it was Slam Presents Kicks. All right. And then this is what we talk about. The underground culture had a voice, that you got a magazine just for shoes. Like nobody was doing this. You barely got the basketball magazines to speak your language. And then they made a whole magazine just for sneakers, yo. Come on, kicks. Look at that. Derrick Rose. Yeah, so we going back with it. We going back with it. AI. Look at that one. Right? And then now you have classic poses, because this is AI, but this is, if you go back, it's a classic pose that looks really similar to this. So it's a badge of honor to be on the Slam magazine cover. All right, when you make it to Slam, it's again when just like the local rapper that wanted to be in the back of the Source magazine for the quote, or the up and coming guy. It's the same thing. It's the same badge of honor. It's the same motivation, and it's almost the same segment of the population and the culture. All right. So, and then when let's just thumb through some of this stuff really quick. You know what I mean? Not going to get all the way into it. We could talk all day, but just, I just open it up to the middle. We got, some Adidas action going on right here. Look at this. Who is this? That's Kevin Garnett over here on Adidas. It's just for the culture. Look how interactive this is. I'm not even gonna rip. I still have the plastic oil. I can't even open it all the way. I don't even want to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? But you just look at this. This is what year is this? This is your hottest and new shoes for 2005. All right. And so again, the infancy of the internet. Look at this. This is talking about. This is a article about the internet and sneakers. All right, sneaker culture. This is early eBay days and stuff like that, where sneakers were really being sold more. But again, and then like even at the bottom of this is what they called it. See, look, this is what you saw, Kixology. Kixology. Even just a little presentation at the bottom of the magazine. Like, come on, right there. Bottom of the magazine, right there. You got the whole article, and then You got the whole article going on, and then there's totally something else going on at the bottom. You just have to pay attention to all of these little details, right? Just like I said, you got the internet article going on here, but then you got Kixology going on at the bottom. Kixology, come on. And then you got to guess them, and then you go find the answers later. There's a couple more pages. There's like five. You got to go through the whole thing, and then you get to the end, and then there goes the key right there at the bottom, and it'll tell you who was wearing what. Number one was the Quentin Richardson and Rip Hamilton, Shamar Williams. Like, come on, listen to some of these names in here for shoes. All right, you know what I mean? Latrell Sprewell, Daryl Armstrong, Chris Webber, Baron Davis, Jonathan Bender, Bonzi Wells. Don't sleep on Bonzi Wells' footwear game. Yeah, like, come on, Jalen Rose. Again, I'm just saying nostalgic names just because they're right here.
The key thing is, well, Sharp, that I want to bring up since you're looking at the magazine, as we say about music, the replay value in Slam magazines were unreal. So honestly, that same magazine can literally hold you and hold your attention for a whole month, because if you go through it the first day, the replay value of it will last another few weeks before you really go through everything and you're tired of it. And people don't understand how hard that is to do in print. Like, it's impossible to do. And Slam did it. So it wasn't like you were dying for the next, edition when you had a month to wait for the next month. Like, no, they did enough as far as photography, as far as articles, the interest of the articles, how they wrote things, what they put in there to hold your interest for the entire month, man. And that's an epiphany I just had, because I didn't realize, even with you doing what you're doing, you're looking at it like it's brand new. You know what I mean? And for a kid like me who didn't really, quote unquote, like to read, my mom knew she got me a Slam that it will hold my attention, and I'll be something quiet for a few days, definitely.
Yeah, like, so, and one thing is we blended everything together, and we're just showing you about the culture. Like, this article right here is sneakers, rhymes, and life. You're not going to get another magazine to do an article like this. You're just not. And this is actually with Adidas, actually with Tracy McGrady, you know what I'm saying? But, off to the side over here looking like, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's actually, not McGrady. McGrady was the article before this. This is actually you got Cormega and DJ Clark Kent in this article. All
Here we
right,
go.
so that's
New
actually
York.
Cormega right there. My bad.
New York.
And then of course you got, and this is why we like Slam Magazine, because you're always educating people. Oh, this was the first thing that validated like why you liked it. Like, you liked it, but other people didn't know that it was a thing. So you kind of look crazy to some people, or your parents or whoever, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, no, this is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is underground culture. It's not for everybody, but no, this is a thing. We understand what's going on. And then, we're here talking about articles about sneakerheads. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, yeah, you know, I'm a sneakerhead. I got this, and this. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just looked at one of these. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many of these. This one's just all about Jordans and stuff. Like, you know, what era was this? This is a Foot Locker House of Hoops ad. Like, look, we could do this all day. All
Bacon's
right.
come back. Come on now, Nike. Bring them Bacons back. Not only those, but bring the blue and gray ones back too. Please bring the Bacons back.
You know who that is. We'll see what team that is. For the whole team.
Indeed.
Wizards. So we see, this was an anniversary. This was an official Sneaker Bible's 10th anniversary issue. This was the 10th anniversary of the Kicks. Like this is how long we've been in the game.
There you go.
You know, like, shout out to Xavier Jones. Like, look at this. Look at this Reebok, Rockport, actually a Rockport boot with DMX technology in there. Here for the Can we see that? I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we get
definitely.
that. Yes.
Definitely.
Look at that. Look at the DMX talent technology in the booth. Shout out to Xavier for showing us how that actually worked with the DMX technology in the shoes. But then you have an article with Sneak More. We talk about designers. like Xavier. Now look, now you got Jason Petrie right here. You know, influencer design, not just Tinker Hatfield, and then you get to just learn about who's making the shoes. So if you were into that stuff, this was it. This was all you really had to learn about. Oh, there's a job. There's people behind it. What do they do? You know what I mean? Like you didn't really learn anything else. You know?
And here's the key thing, as I mentioned earlier, as far as the magazine be the complement to the internet. Like social media now, like X now, formerly Twitter now, these guys will join message boards. Russ was on Nike Talk. A lot of people on message boards in which you can actually communicate with these guys directly who were writing these articles, who were part of these articles, who were being, I would say, discovered in these articles, which made it even more cool. And the community just grew from that point forward. So being able, as they say, to taste and see not only what was in the magazine, but be relatable. And before you know it, you may have communication, a relationship, you may have internship, you may have somebody who knows someone else. It was just a great time to be alive, as I always say. And Shark, you have that. I remember that magazine vividly because half of that magazine I cut out and I had it as posters or on my wall in my dorm room. I remember a lot of these, taping them on the wall, definitely in college.
Yeah, there's so much going on here, you know what I'm saying? That you just it's just so much. Yeah, look at old Gil. With the Adidas. We're talking Adidas, it's the light switch era. Over here, you know. So yeah, again, that's that look at that jacket that this guy right here, Undercrown. Look at that time.
There
You
you
know
go.
that that's a special time with the Undercrown. All right. We got Monte Ellis with the come on. With and one. Yeah, there's so much. Oh, you know, there
And
was a
Slam had to do with
Redeem
Kicks.
Team, another ad for the upcoming Redeem Team uh edition with Kobe over there, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
And it only made sense for them to eventually branch off and do a Kicks edition every once in a while because if you're on the court, I don't care if it's grassroots, I don't care if it's the league. Somehow you're going to see what footwear or
Well,
what they're
it
wearing.
got commercialized because look at that.
There you
Because
go.
it became presented by Foot Locker. All right, so Foot Locker wanted in on the deal. That's why on the back cover, this one is an Adidas ad. The other ones don't. The back covers don't always match the ad. But then you started getting into other stuff. Like remember, there goes the KD Hyperrise when you first open that up.
Remember those.
This actually has something that's tough. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Yeah, it just says what's next. Oh, I never even do it. I'm supposed to actually scratch it. This is a scratch and see. How about
Again,
that? Where
there you
where
go.
do you get that at?
The
A scratch.
replay
I'm like
value.
sitting here like I feel like I now understand what these kids be talking about. Like, what do you do with this? Scratch it. Like, what I need to scratch it for? Oh wow. Yeah. Anything. Derrick Rose. Anything was crazy. During his time. Yeah. Again. So here we go with some more. Sneaks. Just more, just kicking it over here, Kicksology, on court, off the court. We have, like cultural articles. Um, this talks about soul power. Just a little article, just talking about relationship, a teacher and the student revolving around sneakers and stuff like that. Like you just need things that are relevant. Look at this, talking about some Yeezy time, some
There you go.
original designs and so again, just articles, insight, multiple brands. This is an article just on Pony. Like,
Relatable.
come on. This is what we're talking about when we're trying to give clarity over popularity. It's not just brand dominated like social media for likes. Look at that graduation. This is a young buck that they're talking about right here. Brandon Jennings. Look at that.
Woo!
first person rocking Under Armour basketball shoes that put them on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Brandon Jennings in high school was not a
Yeah.
joke.
Look, Brandon Jennings and Under Armour are each about to start something big together. That's this article. You know? Like, come on. Come on. And then Derrick Rose, like, you just this MVP year is like I wish you were there to see that. You
Unreal.
know. So yeah, again, just so many different. Here goes another Under Armour original Under Armour basket. So if you were new to basketball, this is where you show up and you say, "Hey, I'm here. We're basketball now. Under Armour. All right." That's what you do. That's what Slam Magazine do. Here's one more AI. See, I told you they don't match because that one has T Mac on the back. But yeah, just what's going on in here? You know, another and one action going on over here. Ayo got his own ad. What's in the middle here? You know, we got some Showtime kicks talking about LeBron twos. You know, that's a sleeper one where we like LeBron
Definitely.
twos over here. You know, Chamber of Fear action going on. Yeah. So AI 10T. Look at that AI. You know the AI with the Afro cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget the Sports Illustrated with the roses. Like, nah, we want the AI with the Afro on the Slam magazine. That's for the culture.
Blowout comb, totally.
Yeah. Look, you got an article on Phil Knight. You know what I'm saying? Just so you know who the man making moves is. Hall of Fame. You
Definitely.
got the Hall of Fame action. You know what I'm saying? You got some collectors articles. So again, everything for the culture around here. And then you just gave you information. Look at this design school. All right, just talking about some of the original sketches to the Converse D Wade. All right, so this is before you were leaking stuff on the internet or whatever. People actually, it was cool to share this information so that you learned about it, not just to be the first one to see it. All right, this we want to see the tech specs. You want to see what it really means and what they were really trying to do with that. So yeah, then just show you a little T-back action before you go. So yeah, again, Slam Magazine was definitely an influence for the basketball, and hip hop culture, marrying them together. Rappers want to be ballers want to be rappers. Well, they spoke the language. Shout out to Russ, shout out to Scoop Jackson, and everybody else over that were the OGs for Slam Magazine. So when you see that Slam and you see the orange Slam logo, their logo font, you know what you're getting with it. Now they have merch and merch shops and partnerships with different brands. One of the brands that we like, 199, you'll see them partner with Slam all the time, because that's for real hoopers, for the culture. All right. Shout out to other brands, like Curry brand that works with Nick DePaula over there, and then just bringing that information together. And they're always working with who? Slam Magazine. They're
Definitely.
getting some of those exclusive drops. So even to this day, Slam Magazine, whether the physical print going to the digital form, social media era, they have done it right. They have translated. They're still at the heart of the culture. And we just wanted to give you a salute to Slam Magazine.
Indeed.
30 years, just kicking it. All right. So from the Soul Material podcast you cheer for, channel you cheer for, we give you that sneaker business talk, that clarity over popularity over here. So we're signing off for another episode. It's T-Mark the Street Sharp.
And your man OGEO. Until next time, peace to you.
Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.